is the Investor Connect podcast program. This is Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of the show, in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, private equity, family offices, and many other investor groups for startups and growth companies. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining us. Hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today I'm here with Matt Uomo, CEO of the digital futurist and AI strategy expert of Fifth Advantage. Fifth Advantage helps businesses become future ready by leveraging AI and digital technologies to drive growth and efficiency. Known as the Avengers of AI, they deliver fast, actionable results with an anti-consulting approach, empowering companies to thrive autonomously. Matt, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Hall. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm excited to speak with you today.
Great. And so where does this podcast find you today?
I am in Austin, Texas, where I live.
Great. I as well. So glad to connect with you. And let's just jump right in. Tell us more about your background before founding Fifth Advantage.
Yeah, sure. So I was kind of always at the bleeding edge of technology and had the pleasure and honor of working with some of the brightest and greatest minds in technology at the time. I worked for Microsoft and Amazon and created some products, from the ground up, like with myself and maybe less than half a dozen people that now power countless applications and are used by hundreds of millions of people. And then after my 10 years there, I went and turned around some companies and had a $600 million exit and a $1 billion exit and some other things. And so I started to take a look back and, the things that Crea was one of the founders. I was the founder of the database division of Amazon Web Services, the founding GM. So not just the technology, I had the whole business. And then I created enterprise edition of Microsoft SQL Server and created a SaaS product before we called it SaaS. And it went on to become Microsoft Dynamics, and then created a speech product, and our speech infrastructure was rolled in and it became Cortana and Windows eventually. So kind of was always on the bleeding edge and learned some things, what to do, but equally important, what not to do. And at this stage of my life, it's like, how can I help as many people as possible? Because I feel blessed. I had mentors that changed the trajectory of my life, both personally and professionally. And so, that's how Fifth Vantage was born. And, our goal is to help as many people as possible be successful with emerging technology like AI, because we're at the dawn of the fourth industrial revolution. And, we want to help people be excited, embrace the technology, and get great results. So that's it.
Great. Well, what led you to start work in the AI space? What attracted you there?
Well, I have been doing technology work in AI for a long time. A lot of our products that we built leveraged AI. And so saw the benefits and also the hard work that you had to put in it to reap those benefits. And so felt like, and then the rest of our team, the Avengers, also had similar experience and were like, okay, what can we do to take what we've learned and help as many people as possible be, successful with it. And that's the impetus.
Well, and so how did working with Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, shape your views on AI?
They're different people and come at the path of innovation from different ways. And so I kind of think a mashup of the two is, there's a spectrum, right? But, Bill was always think strategically, think long term, come up with good plans, try to think of all the bad things that can go. How do you grow? And then launch, but be methodical about it. And there were some big wins and big misses, right? But that was all around thinking through the problem and hiring a great team and then building engineering excellence and operational excellence in the other aspects of the business. Jeff comes at it from he wants to be first in everything because everybody remembers the first, right? And he also wants to move really, really quickly because his theory is, look, you could think all you want, but until you actually do things and start building it and iterating quickly, there's going to be things you thought were going to be possible. There's going to be things you find that aren't possible, and you better just move. And the other element is working backwards from the intended audience. Jeff was like, okay, who's the customer? Let's work backwards from there. What do they need? Who are we trying to work with? What do they need? Fast forward, do a press release. What do you want to extol? And then vet it backwards and vet it backwards from your employees as well. So you can see the differing approaches both yield great results, no doubt. And you have to pick, the circumstance of what works for you. So now you look at AI, right? 63% of AI projects fail. That is the statistic. And so, how can you take the core strengths of these different operating models and find the formula that works for you and your organization? And so, we kind of pull from both and meet our client where they are. We don't come in and say, you're going to go do this. We meet them where they are and help them along where they want to go. And we work hand in glove. And then once, like the Avengers, you have a small team, each with their own superpower. They come in, meet you where you are in the situation, help you get on the path to sustainable success and moving forward, make sure you can handle it, and then they move on. And so that's what we do in a nutshell. So I pull principles from both and tune our approach based on what the client needs.
Well, that's great. Well, you come from the family office world. Why do you think now is the right time for family offices to invest in AI? How does it fit their model?
Oh, this is a really good question. Okay, part of it's AI, and I'll come back to that one. But part of it is hey, look, the venture world's been around for a long time and many are institutionalized, right? For the last 15 years, it's as a service, grow licenses, keep churn to 7 to 11%, manage it, and along the way, you'll build a great business. And so in return, a lot of them, are more governance oriented. And so, what I see and now given what happened since 2019, the cost of capital is dramatically increased and probably will remain that way through 2025, and valuations have dropped. The tightness around the funds has dramatically increased, and what the potential company that's going to take funding, they get less. And so here comes, what we call family office. It would depend on what the size are. And it's a great opportunity if you come in and you not only give them money, but you give them what I call juice. These entrepreneurs at this level, they want you to be mission driven. They want you to align with the mission. They want everyone to benefit, their employees, not just the venture capital firm. And they're looking for you to give them services to juice them. Like I told, what to do, but what not to do. And, and give them terms that are reasonable, right? Don't just gouge them to gouge them. Give them reasonable terms. And if you are a party like that and you're willing to participate, you're going to get the pick of the litter. The model over the next few years in venture is going to completely change. A lot of the highest net worth family offices get it, and they're in there doing this right now. And so it's a great avenue and a great opportunity if you're willing to put on your own hat as an entrepreneur. So, yeah. Now, the
So,
AI part, we're in a transformation stage. People know that, but they don't quite know what to do. And there's a whole kind of thesis of what to invest in and categories which we can go into.
so what do you tell family offices that are hesitant about AI investments? How do you give them confidence here?
Well, okay. Look, everybody has their own, like I said, thesis of what you invest in. So let's pull back from AI. First off, there's 6 different types, right? So now let's pull back. Where we are in 2024 is essentially the birth of AI assistance and AI washing. We're seeing lots of productivity assistants come out from Grammarly to Microsoft Copilot to different things. And what are those doing? They're augmenting us as humans and helping us be more productive and more effective and focus on things, removing the tedious, and they're helping us be better, right? And that's where we are. Then there's the whole other thing of I got to get in the AI game. So I'm just checking the box by sprinkling something in there AI wise, just so I can say I did it. The savvy will be able to pick the difference between the two. Remember, let's pull a Jeff Bezos principle. Let's work back from what problem you're trying to solve and how do you do it? Now, could you be the world's best at it? And if you work backwards from there, you can start to suss out what ones are real, what ones aren't. At the same time, that's where we are right now in 2024. At the same time, look, AI allows us to re-engineer and reimagine the way we do things. And I tell people now's the birth of value-based businesses. Go ask a CIO who or a small business who has to string all this SaaS together, and how much value are you actually getting from your investment? And so I'll give you an example. Let's say you're in the business of buying short-term rental properties. I may have to hire an army of people to go analyze the market and the property and the conditions. And the statistics for some of these large funds is there are 16 people for 6 months to go pick one property with the target of getting whatever return. Well, there's companies out there that can reduce that entire burden to 4 hours. That's dramatic value. Now, would I try to do that in a SaaS world? What price was the license, right? Am I going to charge 100,000? So what things are going to come out are value-based businesses. I can create this revenue and guarantee it, or I can create this efficiency and savings and I can guarantee it. In return of your savings or return of your revenue, give me X%. It's a different model, different way to crack the nut. And there's a lot of these being birthed right now. The little assistants I talked about, larger companies are going to vacuum up the good ones. But these other reimagining and re-engineering, because they don't have the legacy, we're going to see the birth of the way we operate as businesses change over the next 2 to 3 years. Then there's the whole thing around so that's apps and that's tools. Now there is the whole infrastructure and data and power, right? And bandwidth. Maybe your propensity is to invest in data centers and infrastructure because that's what you know. Well, we need a lot more data centers. We know power. That's why everybody's investing in different alternatives as nuclear. But we also need bandwidth, right? The world's data is going to grow by 75% in the next 2 years. I'm going to have to send all that back and forth somewhere. Where's the bandwidth going to come? So there's a whole investment thesis there in hardware and data and flow. And then there's the middleware. Someone's got to build tools to make it easy to build all this stuff. So those are the four kind of categories. And I'm looking at it again, come in with let's work backwards from the problem or solution that's being provided. Do you think it has legs? Can they prove it provides value? Who's it for? Why would they use it? What's the value that they're going to get? And then look at the technology. So it's not that much different, candidly, than other investments you may look at. It's just alien because people jump into the how with AI without looking at the bigger picture. And if I was a family office, I'd look at it with what are the investment areas I might want to do? And then could I bring the juice or would I bring someone else to help bring the juice? And then kind of sprinkle into the different areas that match with your investment appetite.
So what advantages do family offices have in AI investing compared to other investors?
Well, okay. So you have the ability to, depending on what you want to do and how many investments you want and how much you want to give, you have the advantage of, and if you give the terms that are better than they can get from venture, then like I said, the cream of the crop of potential companies are going to come to you because it's less friction and everybody wins, right? You're giving the juice to them, they're getting stuff that's reasonable. You're helping them grow. You're not just giving oversight. And so, look, you have your wealth because you knew what you were doing, right? You know how to grow something or etc. And this is that everybody kind of wins from that scenario as long as you approach it as a win-win. If you approach it as I'm just going to throw money and do governance and I'm going to try to squeeze you for the tightest number, then you're no different than a venture capital firm because that's really what they do. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, AI has a tremendous opportunity for businesses to grow. How do you assess if a business is ready for AI before you apply it?
So this is a core one of the core things is first we meet with the executive, the decision makers. What are you trying to do for whom? What are your real goals? Is it rev rec? Is it efficiencies? Is it we need margin expansion? Let's really get grounded. One of the core reasons AI projects fails because it can't they scope something amorphous, can't explain it to the people that are actually going to go do the work, try to eat the elephant whole and choke on it, and have unrealistic expectations. So let's break the problem apart. What are your real goals? What are you trying to achieve? Who would benefit? Now let's start teasing apart scenarios that you'd go off and do. And let's help you formulate what you might want to do over the next 18 months. And then let's not eat the elephant whole. Let's pick off a couple small projects that prove you can do it. Get some low risk, high ROI projects. Learn as a company or an organization at what to do and what not to do, and create evangelists in your company. Hey, we can do this. Here's what I've learned. People want to be a part of success. They don't want to be sold fear. They want to be sold opportunity. And if you show your employees the opportunity and that we can do this, this is good. Don't do this, and start moving in smaller and bigger chunks, and they're aligned to your goals, and you're really good about stakeholder management, you're going to win and you're going to be successful, and it'll be good.
So, what allows you to deliver AI growth in just a matter of weeks?
Yeah, well, part of it is sussing out what I just told you is we spend a lot of time with the people. People jump right to the how. It's like going to the doctor and you get a 15-letter Latin word that means cold, right? Don't start with the tech. Don't start with the AI. Let's start talking about, like I said, what are you trying to accomplish for whom, why, time frame, goals, metrics. Now let's pick off a low-hanging project to prove you can do it. And so we really dive in, and some of the things we pull out, as many of the times, things we pull out doesn't even involve AI. That should be done first, right? Because it lays the groundwork. But then we start getting them like within a few days to a few weeks, what you need to do materializes. And then we get people started on tasting victory. It's really important to have a small pilot project that has high ROI and low risk and put points on the board and taste success. It builds momentum, and people love to be in the momentum boat.
Well, there's a lot of talk about AI taking away people's jobs. How do you help them see AI as empowering rather than a threat?
Okay, look, we've gone through tech fears before. I've experienced it in cloud. Look, we had the same fear when electricity was invented. Boy, was that a transformational thing across the world, right? Oh, is it safe? Is it going to burn my house down? What? I don't do that. I have to change all these things. It goes on and on and on. You apply the same principle. Let's go look and how does it benefit my customer or client or whoever I serve? Work backwards for them, the Bezos principle. Think long term, the Gates thing. How can we make that experience better? Then people want a personalized, simple, easy, frictionless, reliable experience. That's what we want in today's world. So, how do we do that? The people that do that create value for their brand and loyalty. People want you to get them. If you get them and demonstrate it and do it repeatably and reliably, you build sticky and people will stay with you, right? Now you want to do the same for your employees. We use words like efficiency and blah, blah. And when people hear efficiency, they think cut. There's the opposite way to look. When I think efficiency, I think growth. So let's work backwards. I painted the picture for clients. Now let's work backwards from the employee experience. If we want to go do that, where are you spending all your time? And take the lens of the 80-20 rule. 20% of the activities take up 80% of the effort. So if we want to go do this, what are the things preventing you from doing that? Because I want to orient you there and work hand in glove to take the thing, candidly, employees don't want to do all that stuff like macro L laden spreadsheets. I really don't want to build the spreadsheet, but I have to get the information I need. Well, let's go automate that and show them how to do it and show them how it makes them more productive and opens them for opportunities for growth. It was the same thing with electricity. We opened up new ways of doing things, and the same thing applies. People don't want to hear fear. They want to feel how they can be successful. And if you show them that and take them along the journey, it's going to be fine. And look what happened with electricity. Some jobs changed, legitimate. Some jobs went away, but look how much more it created. And that's the lens you really need to take.
Right. So, what AI trends do you foresee shaping the business in the coming years? Where do you think it's going to go?
Okay, so we talked about the four vectors, right? We talked about assistance. We talked about washing, which is the people who don't know what they're doing, checking the box, they're going to go away and form. Then there is the different ways of reimagining and re-engineering things. I talked about one, with short-term investing. Here's another one, look, if you're a dentist and you can only see so much of a scan, why not let AI scan and pick out the things you need to do to build a better crown, right? A better fitting crown that delights the customer. It's better patient care. It also offloads something to you that's really hard. I can do it faster. I can do better and more effectively, right? That's value. So if I'm looking at this as over the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to reimagine and re-engineer to create value to the end user, value to the end business that makes it better. They grow revenue or they save money or they can do things more effectively with less. That's true value. And that transcends the software stack and then how I pull in data to power that and make that easier. It's a really hard problem. We have data stores all over the place, and AI in its current form wants it in a format. There's a lot of investment about making that easier. And then the whole growth of, compute and hardware and networking to scale that out from the data center on up. So there's going to be a lot of investment and growth in all those areas, but always work backwards. Simple, easy, frictionless, reliable. If you take that lens and look at any one of those four quadrants, you will have a better lens on what actually could win.
Great. Well, in the last few minutes that we have here, what else should we cover that we haven't?
One thing from an investment thesis is, look, spread your investments over things that you know and understand. And also look at things you may not understand fully, but have enough knowledge and kind of diversify. Some people, your thesis is, I'm going to go deep on the software and leave the other stuff alone. Other people would, hey, I might want to invest in all of them, but to degrees that are more relevant to what I have the affinity. And I would take the lens before you did it of one of those two camps and, sprinkle into a manageable number to go do. That's something we didn't cover, but one that I know is successful. Resist the urge to go do dozens and dozens and dozens unless you want to become your own venture fund. But keep it to a manageable number and diversify a bit, and you might have better results.
That's great advice. So, how best for listeners to get back in touch with you?
Oh, hey, thanks for that, Hall. So, one thing, you could drop me an email at matt.domo@fifthvantage.com, or I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn top voice. You can connect with me on LinkedIn and I'll follow up with you as we need to. And we can have a conversation, see what we can do to help you.
Well, that's great. We'll put those contact details in the show notes. I want to thank you for joining us today and hope to have you back for a follow up soon.
Yeah, thanks, Hall. I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to seeing how your community takes value from this. It's exciting.
Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Hall T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.